Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning trading session. Hang on here a second while I get the screen share going on. Market's tumbling a little bit out of the open here this morning, at least the NASDAQ. That's what we're looking at here. I'm also following soybeans and crude oil on my other monitor. But you can see the market's opening. Here, let's take a look at the Eagle. This was yesterday's session, just a real roller coaster. It's not that there weren't some opportunities to be had, but wow, what a ride. The Eagle starting the day with a green bar sell signal. Let's see if that's found its profit objective yet. I don't think so. No, we've got a little ways to go. And we are just a couple minutes into the session so far. I don't want to get too crazy, but it does look like we might be in a little bit of a downtrend today. We'll see how the market behaves here today. We're right back down now near yesterday's lows, as you can see. The overnight low dipping a little bit deeper. All right, well, we'll put that away for now. We are getting a first micro-macro cross signal here to sell, but it is just a couple minutes into the session, as I said, and we're also sitting here right on the median line. Don't know if I want to go too crazy with a signal just yet, although typically it seems like about the first 5 minutes into the session we get some sort of signal. Okay, so we're getting some support down here around the 49.40 area. What I might do, rather than enter right here, where was yesterday's low? Oops, waited a little bit too long. I was going to enter below yesterday's low, which is 49.39 quarter. And I think scalping may be the way to go today. Here on the Raptor, we're getting a sell signal as well. This is our cloud crossover signal. Well, sort of. Clouds tried to cross that way. They're crossing back this way. And all I'm looking for here is to try to capitalize on a little bit of momentum. is I'll extend my profit target here, which I normally have a few ticks further. There we go. Yeah, here we go. It's normally I sell about 5 minutes into the session. This is 6 minutes into the session. Or sell. And today we're selling, buying or selling. Fairly evenly split market here at the moment, with a slight nod to the sellers. We are seeing a little bit of support now off of that 49.32 area. All right, here we go. Come on. Let's see some renewed momentum. All right, if we can see the sellers come in here a little bit, I'm going to look at getting a little bit more aggressive with my stops. I don't feel like playing around much with them today. There we go. Come on. Okay, I'm going to enable the ATR now. In fact, I could just go above there. We'll go with the bar high-low. If they fail at this point and they take out the high, my little swing high here, then we're likely going to see a little bit of a rally. This is an important point for this particular market now, this whole 32 area. There we go. We got the break-even trigger. All right, we got our first profit objective. Come on. Keep going. Come on. Oh, come on. Let's just get a little bit more follow through here. There we go. All right, I'm going to go with the parabolics now. The parabolics, I like the parabolics. I think they're uh, a great stop strategy. You know, when the market starts to lose momentum, they get in there a little bit tighter. See if we can ride out this little swing. There's obviously some buying going on here around the 49.28 area. Come on, give me that little swing. Oh, darn it. I thought maybe we were going to ride out that little swing there, but that's okay. So let's see. We got stopped just on that reversal. Just got to make a couple notes here in my trading journal. And now it looks like the buyers are going to take their turn. Way to go, Chris. Christian says, Eric, today I've loaded the double cloud template for the Raptor and it looks fantastic. It looks like a 3D video game. Yeah, I know it does in a little bit. The overlapping clouds, the candles with nice colors, great work. Ricardo, of course, the Raptor owner who first suggested the double cloud. Ricardo trading a lot of hard edge bounces and in for a lot smaller profit targets. I think he was looking primarily to scalp, but yeah, the Raptor truly is a collaborative type of tool. Raptor owners definitely having their say-so, which is great. Yes, like Christian says, and the best is it works, it's profitable. Yes, of course. You can make it as pretty as you want. If it doesn't work, what's the point? Okay, we're getting a little bit of a rally here, a little bit of a push off of the lows. We do have a macro pullback. The Falcon already changing over. You'll notice the Falcon here. A nice bounce off of the secondary resistance all the way down to secondary support. The Falcon trendline color starting to change. That macro pullback signal now into a green bar sell. Okay, we don't have, technically this is a buy signal here on the Raptor, but it's not what I would call a soft edge buy. We haven't really seen a decent test of the extreme here. I would like to see a little bit of a test of the extreme before we get too much of a rally. Okay, here's a green bar sell. I only want to go in with a single on this. I don't want to get too crazy. Looking for a test of the extreme now. Just a short little scalp. All right, let's see if we can get some follow through on that 6:50 a.m. Come on. Just a little follow through. Give me a bar or two and then I'll get this trade to break even. Come on, one more. One more. Oh, come on. Oh, whew. For a second, I thought they were going to flip and tag the break even. So this green bar sell, the reason it was worth attempting is that we had not seen a test of the extreme yet. Right, so the downtrend, market retraces, but we haven't, before the market reverses, we normally see a test of the extreme and then the market head the other direction, but we haven't seen this part yet, right? So that's what I was looking for. That was the reason I tried to short. And fortunately, it worked out. I didn't think it was worthwhile trying to run it out. Given that we're so close to the Christmas holiday break. Looks like we're getting some early support coming in, maybe. Okay, we're getting another buy signal here. On the Raptor now, we do have our test of the extreme, a soft edge buy. We're getting the trend change signal here in the Falcon. My concern is the trend is down. Because the trend is down, this may be nothing more than a bear flag with the market breaking through the downside. Maybe we'll give them a couple of extra ticks here. There's no denying this is a pretty influential area for the market at the moment. Good morning, Peter. Peter writes, good morning, Eric. A few days ago, we spoke about the number of trades you take in a day. Do you have a time limit on your trades? Today seems to be a slow day, so do you give it more time? Ray Burke was always big on the time it takes for his order to fulfill. But if you knew Ray at all, he was very much a type A personality where, come on, let's get going, get her done. He had very little patience for the marketplace if it wasn't responding exactly as it should. Mike, I sure hope I don't get tagged here on the hard edge. You know what? I'm going to go with the more aggressive bar high low. So to answer your question, Peter, no, I don't usually worry too much about the timing. If the setup is sound, I'll take the trade. And it doesn't matter to me whether it takes 5 minutes or 15 minutes to put together. Sometimes, oh, here we are at the top of the hour, and I said I wasn't going to take a trade at the top of the hour. Sometimes, the longer it takes for the market to put a trade together, the more likely the trade is going to work out for you, because it seems as though the market forces have to do their thing, and buyers and sellers are fighting it out, and that's why the market's not moving. But no, I don't worry so much about the amount of time in a trade. And I'm starting to wish I had taken that soft edge buy signal a little bit earlier here. I'd be able to get this trade into a break-even position, whereas right now I can't get it to break even just yet, but I tell you, I'm a little leery about the follow-through here on the hard edge. Gotta see this bar go 49.43. I think we're only 49. There we go, 43. 43. Come on, go 43 quarter. There we go. Okay, that's a little better. And now I'm going to get really tight. This hard edge is scaring me today. Come on, one more bar. One more bar so I can comfortably get to break even. You stinkers, get up there. Well, I might spoil the trade, but I'm going to take it to break even. Come on, buyers. So the hold up now at 44, 49.44. What's the high of my bar here? 43 half. There we go. There's 44. 44. Come on. 44 quarter. There we go. Oh, don't hang just before the profit target. Francisco asks, what are your typical targets for each bird? Good question, Francisco. The high probability targets for your hawk scalper, it is $50 per contract. For your falcon swing trader and your raptor, it is $100 per contract. And for the eagle trend trader, it is $200 per contract. So needless to say, because we're looking at dollar values, you need to adjust them for the tick values of the market you're watching. So if you're watching a $10 instrument, say like the Russell, then your $50 scalp target would be 5 ticks. If you're watching a $5 instrument like the NASDAQ or the YM, your $50 target is 10 ticks. Now I will mention I do adjust my profit objective for some of the more volatile markets. For instance, crude oil. 5 ticks in crude oil is nothing. So I'll typically double the profit objectives. So that means we will have a $100 scalp target, a $200 target for the Falcon and the Raptor, and a $400 target for the Eagle. Well, they tried to go up unsuccessfully. Now we're getting a little bit of a mixed bag of signals. Macro pullback here, but we're getting a green bar sell here on the Eagle. And the signals are coming just a little bit too fast this morning. Okay, well here's a macro pullback if you wanted to go for it. Looks like we're going to get a... Oh, baby. Oh, I shouldn't be doing this. Oh, doggone it, Eric. What's the matter with you? Why can't you just sit on your hands? This is how I get myself into trouble. You know what? I'm going to close that order up. No, I'm not. Got filled and closed the order at the same time. It should go up. I'm not so worried about that. I don't know if it's going to get to its profit objective. So see, this is what the trade was looking like. Oh yeah, here we go. Come on, get up there. Again, the cause of my hesitation is I'm not sure which way this market is leaning. We'll take a look here at the Eagle, which gives us a little bit more of a bird's eye view, if you will. Is this a reversal or is this a bear flag? Right now, it's really difficult to tell because at this stage, a reversal looks like a bear flag. For instance, here we had the same thing in reverse. Obvious uptrend. Reversal or bull flag? Well, at this point, I would probably be inclined to say bull flag, and yet what happened? A lot of sideways, and then the market drifts a little bit lower. So that's the reason for me backing out of that macro pullback trade. It isn't that it isn't a high probability signal, and it isn't that it's even likely to find its profit objective. I suppose I should have just let it go at that. Hit its scalp target, but let's see, we're a tick or two away from our break-even trigger. At this point, I would probably start to think seriously about bringing the stops in, at least below the swing low. I don't use Fibonacci's a lot, but I bet you we're sitting at a 50% level. Yeah, sure enough. So market makes a retrace about 2/3 of the way back, comes down. We're sitting somewhere right in the middle of this whole mess, which accounts for the hesitation as well. Very, very balanced market here at the moment. Now again, I don't follow the Fibonacci's. If you follow Fibonacci's, I'm not knocking them. They're it's fine to follow. Like I said, so long as it helps you make a direction, you're good. But if the market's going to recover the trend, it usually tries to recover it as well, somewhere around a 50% retrace, in which case we could see the market try to head lower. Maybe. Okay, Peter was asking about how long the signal takes to print. Printing the signal I'm not so worried about, but when I'm in the trade and it's taking a long time, then I get a little bit more concerned because, of course, I'm looking for momentum. And if I'm lacking momentum, I'll tend to be a little bit quicker with my stops. So at the very least, you could certainly bring your stop up to here. That would cut your risk approximately in half, or bring it up to here where it looks like you'd have about $75 at risk. There comes a point where it's time to press the trade. You know, if the buyers are going to follow through, then great. If you're not, well, there's no point in hanging around much longer than you need to. There we go. So we would have hit the break-even trigger, and another tick, we would be at our profit objective. There we go. So I guess I panicked for nothing. Crude oil putting in a nice rally this morning. Here's crude oil now on the hawk. So the market opening here, no real signal until about half hour into the session, where we get a first micro macro cross slash 3-arrow consolidation. And so far, good follow through on that for crude oil traders. I don't know, what do we think? Are the buyers looking a little stronger? We do have a late filter entry signal here. I've got a few profitable trades already, so I'm not going to do anything silly, but this late filter entry might be worth giving a go. Can I cover it down there? Ooh, I can. The late filter entry signal, of course, occurs when your filter goes out of sync, comes back into sync. Your trend line never changes color. If you wanted, you could do a second push on this signal, enter as this bar takes out this current high. should get some follow through here on this late filter entry signal. Come on. There we go. So we touched our order. A good question here from Frank. Frank asked, Eric, does having the wicks on your bars assist you in any way? Yes, it does. Especially when it comes to things like trailing stops. For instance, this bar right here, with this long tail on it, we know that at one time or another, this bar was very bearish looking. It had traded all the way down here to this low before reversing and heading higher. So what does that tell us? Well, that tells us that the sellers were temporarily in control, but by the time the bar finished, the buyers had taken control of the bar again. So whenever I'm looking at maybe a place to roll a stop, I'm always looking for this type of situation. A situation where the sellers were in control, but the buyers overwhelmed the sellers. So if I wanted to roll my stop up, well, the first logical choice would be right here, because the buyers actually strung a few, the sellers strung a few bars together. See, these bars without any wicks on them or tails show that the sellers were in total control of this bar. But right down here, all of a sudden the buyers said, oh no, you don't. Note that the sellers managed to make that low again before the buyers took the bar away and started to rally it. The more frequently you get these tails developing now, though, the less it shows you that the buyers are in control. For instance, here, we had a reasonably strong downtrend because look at how many bars were forming without wicks on them. And when they did form wicks, they were very tiny wicks. This one was a little bit bigger. The buyers got a little bit more aggressive. But for the most part, it shows us that bar for bar, the sellers are in control. And then things start to unwind a little bit down here. Sellers are in control, and then the buyers start coming back. So knowing that, do the buyers look quite as strong? Well, not really. A lot of our bars have got a few more tails on them. This tail relatively short, this one a little bit bigger. This bar is going to be a big decision bar for this market. If we had seen, well, actually this rally was not too bad. We only had one bar with a little bit of a tail. The tails will always get longer where the market starts to turn. But yes, I'd like to see when the market is making a move that there's no real wick or tail on the bar or bars. And then when I'm looking for a place to roll my stop, like for instance, if we were long now and I was looking for a place to roll my stop, this seems like a very reasonable place to put my stop. And if not there, then certainly down here. That's what makes candlesticks such a popular chart style, because they're obviously very visual. You can tell just by looking at this bar here, this was a very, very bearish bar. All right, well, let's put that on the shelf. We keep having trouble with this hard edge. Not getting much follow through there. Which is suggestive that this move is really just a bear flag. And that we will see prices try to head lower from here. Right? We've got essentially a double top here now. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. A little bit of a rally here. It's a very, very balanced market, which I suppose is to be anticipated. Frank is asking, Eric, is there a setting that adds the wick to the mean Renko? If you're asking that, then I suspect that your mean Renko bars are painting black wicks. So the way to fix that, and it's probably on your Falcon, because this, for whatever reason, happens on the Falcon. So go here to your data series, right click on your chart, go to data series, and then here, this box that says wick, I bet you dollars to donuts, yours says black. So change that to white, or any color other than black. And then when you've done that, click apply, and you should have wicks. Now when you have your chart set up the way you like it, right-click on your chart and go down here to Templates and do yourself a favor, save it. Save your template. I call it mine, My Falcon. Very original, I know. But give it a name. That way the next time you load your chart, a fresh chart, you can go to that template and you don't have to redo this every time. Yeah, Francisco says it looks like a downward channel on the eagle. I would agree with that. It does, doesn't it? Something of that nature, give or take. Francisco says, my trade forecaster does not show on the NASDAQ chart, but on crude oil. Make sure you have enough days loaded for your trade forecaster. So go here to your data series. Well, first, before you do that, go to your indicator and make sure that, in fact, you do have the trade forecaster loaded. I've done this where I think I've loaded the software, I've loaded the indicator, and I actually haven't loaded it. Make sure you set your market open time for your time on your computer clock. That makes a difference. So I think you said you're in Florida, so that would obviously be East Coast, 9:30 open. Apply that, and then make sure you have enough days in your data series. I'm not entirely sure why I have 50 days loaded here. I don't think the trade forecaster needs 50, but I think it does need 25 or 20 if I remember correctly. Steve says my Omni timer isn't moving. Where do I have the Omni timer? I wish they would almost give you a search function for your indicators. Okay, Steve says my Omni timer isn't moving. It's stuck at 0. What if we do the countdown? I'm wondering whether it... Let's see how it works on the last setup. I'm wondering if it doesn't like the mean Renko. Let's... Alert enabled. It may not count on a mean Renko style bar. Yeah, it won't count down because it doesn't know the size of the bar. Unlike a typical Renko bar, where let's say you set the Renko bar at 5 ticks, the Omni timer will know the bar needs to make 5 ticks. Same thing for a range style bar. But the mean Renko bars, because they have a little bit of an averaging component in them, the Omni timer doesn't know what the actual size of the bar will be. So for instance, obviously this bar here is much larger than this bar next to it. and yet they're the same bar. The body size is the same. The body size will always be 12 ticks. However, it may or may not have a wick or a tail to it. So your Omni timer is not going to have the count function available, but you will have the time function. The time function letting you know how long it takes for each bar to print. This was actually a tool inspired by Ray Burke. His ears will be ringing today. And it was because Ray liked to see the bars form relatively quickly. He was looking for momentum. So when he had a signal, say like the green bar sell, and he had the signal print, he didn't want that next bar to take forever on the follow through. So he would like to see the market print relatively quickly. Steven says, thanks. I was thinking I was losing it. Yeah, I've been there, Steve. We've all been there. Oh yeah, see, there you go. Thanks, Natalia. Natalia says it works on the mean Renko, the instructions for it says that you have to use the relative to average time setting for Renko style bars, otherwise it won't work. Way to go, Natalia, reading the instructions. Why didn't I think of that? It's like asking for directions. Thank goodness for GPS. We don't have to stop and ask for directions anymore. Well, I'm wondering, you see here the eagle starting to produce signals against the hard edge tip, but this really is not a rule of three signal because I would say we haven't really got the test of the extreme yet. I'm curious. I bet you the eagle did find its profit target here off that first signal. Oh, it did too. Look at that. That first eagle signal just working out very well. Yesterday, first in-sync signal was right here. It don't think it got all the way to the profit objective. No. But it did get low enough that you did have an opportunity to at least adjust your stops, and it may have kissed the break-even trigger. Normally, I set my break-even somewhere around 3/4 of the way to the profit objective. I figure if the market's going to go that far and then fail, well, that's just not fair. I may as well pack up my toys and go home. All right, the hawk into yellow bars. I think we're going to see a little bit of a move lower here, or an attempt anyways to move the market lower. Honestly, folks, I don't know what kind of follow through we're going to see today. right? They look like they're leaning a little bit here toward the short side. We're getting a few lower swing highs. And now we're back here at this matching low, trying to make a red bar buy signal on the hawk. And we have the sell signal here now on the eagle. So the market turning over, this essentially becoming our signal bar now as the ATR flips. And it looks like we're going to get a little bit of follow through. Hooray for us. Excellent, Peter. Peter says made 120 bucks today on 2 buy trades. Nicely done. Peter says, I'm heading off for the holidays. Wanted to wish you and my fellow DTS viewers happy holidays and best in the new year. Thank you, Peter, and same to you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Enjoy the time off. You're not going to be missing anything. We're struggling here a little bit around this 34 area, which again would be about halfways from this little rally. Now the question becomes, is this a test of the low? Or is it a resumption of the downtrend? I think I'm seeing this the same way Francisco's looking at it. A little bit more of a downward channel. Well, if they can't follow through here, we're likely to see a little bit of a rally, so you may want to think about getting your stops handy. If they pivot at this point and head higher, then it's starting to look like the buyers may well have control of the market. So pretty important bar. Well, if you're short, you may want to think about bringing your stops in above those highs. I wouldn't crowd it too much, but I do believe somewhere around the 49-45 area would be prudent. Francisco says, trade forecaster not working on crude oil. Now, make sure you have enough data loaded. Oh, the other thing you can do, Francisco, is just uninstall it. So click it, remove it, and then go find it again. And put it back on. That usually has a way of fixing it. And if that still doesn't work, then shoot an email to Ben. And I'll give you Ben's email. It's support@indicatorwarehouse.com. If any of you ever have support issues with the software, Ben's your man. He will get things squared away for you. I'm so glad to hear you're keeping a journal, Francisco. Francisco writes, writing a journal is very helpful. It certainly is. It's one of the easiest things you can do to improve your trading, and I'm amazed at how few traders actually do it. They say that out of the 10% of traders that are successful traders, 90% of them keep a trading journal. That 1% out of the 10% that is a successful trader who does not journal is just a naturally gifted trader. They just seem to have a knack for it. Journal keeping is, honestly, it's the simplest thing you can do. And it doesn't need to be anything fancy, doesn't need to be fancy software, although there's some excellent journaling software out there. TraderView is such software, and Indicator Warehouse actually has a program that will sync your trades with the TraderView platform, so you don't even need to enter them. They'll be entered automatically for you. And you can get that at the Indicator Warehouse website. It's called Journal Link. I'll show you what that looks like. And it's spelled like this, Journal Link. And you can find out more about the TraderView indicator here. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. I was watching this trade. When you journal, I think it's important to keep a handwritten journal. Not that I actually review my journal very often, but the simple act of writing something down seems to imprint it on your mind a little bit better. Let's see here what's going on. Francisco says, looks like we got maybe a consolidation pattern here on the hawk. Yeah, maybe. Certainly have a first micro macro cross lower. So a few of the markets, a few of the tools coming into sync now. I just wasn't brave enough to go for it, but this eagle signal, fairly solid signal. If you're short this eagle signal, this would be a good time to roll your stops in, or even look at taking profit. We may not reach the full profit objective here. This may turn out to be a retest of the low, so rather than hold out for the whole 200, looks like we've got I don't know, maybe about $75, $80 in open profit here. You may want to go for a halfway's target. But again, maybe I'm just being a little bit of a chicken. Certainly if we can get below the low of this bar, if we can see 49.32, what are we sitting at here? Stop it. 49.32 quarter. Yes, so the low is 49.32 quarter. If we can see 49.32, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. And here's a situation again where we seem to be losing momentum. I would probably take my trade to break even. If we're gonna go, let's go. And if we're not, well then that's okay too, but I'll bring my stops in a little bit, or just look at taking profit. And there we go with the break-even stop out. So a little wishy-washy here today. And again, this is starting to look like perhaps a test of the extreme here on the Eagle. If we come back now and we produce another buy signal, we will have fulfilled the requirements for a rule of 3 and a possible buy. But overall, we've got a pretty big trading range to deal with. All right, boys and girls, I think we're going to pack up shop here for this morning. We'll get together again tomorrow and try to squeak a few dollars out before the Christmas break. We'll see you then. Bye for now.